Hi guys, my name is Volker and I love to make beautiful imperfect things. Today I'm going to walk you through the trickier part of making this wonderful hat called Hat with a Twist. You find the pattern in my Ravelry store. Click on the link in the description and head over there so that you know what I'm talking about. So it's a really cool way to make a hat, but even if the principle of the hat itself is rather simple, there are some steps that maybe are a bit trickier, and are these that I'm going to show you now. So here I am with my trusty swatch once again. This is going to be my mini hat. Here's my provisional cast on. I've been doing the ribbing, one color change, and now I'm nearing the part that I'm actually happy with the length of my hat. So the next step is that I finish my round with one first knit stitch after the purl stitch here. I put it back onto my left needle, and the pattern tells me to put a marker inside it, like this. I've removed all my other markers and now I secure these needles so that nothing can slip off. Here you go. And now it's time to turn the hat inside out. So I go through here, I grab the provisional cast on, pull it through, then I pull the cast on down once again so that the right side is facing me. I turn it like this. So now the right side of the ribbing is facing me, and here I have the end of my waist yarn without a knot. The next step is that I pick up all the stitches from my provisional cast on a circular needle here. If you're unsure how to do that, click on the link above here where I show you both the provisional cast on and how you pick up the stitches later on. So here I've picked up all my stitches from the provisional cast on a circular needle, and I've put a marker on the last stitch that I picked up. I remove the waist yarn, but before I go on I have to weave in the ends here on what is going to be the inside of my hat. So here I have the blue yarn on a tapestry needle. You see that the blue yarn is coming out there, and then it's worked in that direction. So maybe I go one stitch here to the right. And what I want to do then is that I want to weave in the end along this ribbing here, rather than horizontally, not to lose the side stretch. So here I go down here. And then I just follow the legs here on the sides. So in there, following that leg, in there, following that leg, in there. Just a couple of stitches. Then I just go over to the other side, seeing that nothing is too tight. And then I do the same on this side, following here, following there, following there. One last time not to lose the stretch, and then I cut the yarn. And then I do the same with this piece of yarn, maybe along this ribbing part here. So this is the situation for point 8 in the pattern. I've woven in all my yarn ends. Here's my provisional cast on all stitches on my circular needle with the last one marked with this yellow marker. And here's my working yarn. The first stitch is marked with my orange marker. And now it's time to place the two markers behind one another, like this. And now it's time for Kitchener stitch. And as you see, I've left a loop here on my circular needle just to be able to work such a small round on a larger circular needle. So Kitchener stitch. There are actually several things going on at the same time. We have a color change between our working yarn and our back needle. We are working Kitchener stitch in ribbing, and we're doing everything in the round. But don't worry, I'll walk you through it all. The first thing that we're doing everything in the round is actually rather simple. Right now it just leads that we have markers in our first stitches on the front and on the back needle, and we'll get back to that later. The color change actually makes things easier for us because it leads to that we regard all stitches on the back needle as purl stitches, and you'll see in just a minute why that makes things easier. And lastly, for the ribbing part, we're going to work with our leading phrase equal rights. Equal rights is a really important phrase generally, but in this context it also means that the Kitchener stitch always is worked over 2 stitches, one right and one left, and equal rights means that we tackle all right stitches equally. That means if it's a knit stitch, we're going to go through knitwise. If it's a purl stitch, we're going to go through purlwise. And as you know from before, the first stitch always is then slipped off the needle. Equal rights, but unequal lefts. So if this is a knit stitch and this is a knit stitch, we go through equally, knitwise, slip it off, go through unequally, purlwise. And because all stitches on the back needle are purl stitches, we are going to work go through purlwise, off, go through knitwise all the way. So let's do this. The working yarn comes from the front stitch, so we start with the back needle. Equal rights, purlwise through, off, knitwise through. And be careful to have your thread always under both needles. So, equal rights. This is knit stitch, go through knitwise, off, unequal lefts. This is a knit stitch, unequally through purlwise. Same on the back needle, go through purlwise, off, go through knitwise. Now we meet our first purl stitch here. So, equal rights. The right one is a knit stitch, go through equally, knitwise. The left one we treat unequally. It's a purl stitch, so we go through knitwise. And the back needle doesn't change at all. And then every once in a while, give your fabric a little tug so that everything stays stretchy here. So back to the front needle. This is our purl stitch. Actually, it's a bit hard to see now, but when you look to the left, here you have one purl bump, or you know that your ribbing is 1 purl, 2 knit, so this has to be a purl one. So purl and knit, equal rights through purlwise, off, unequal lefts. This is knit stitch, so we go through unequally, purlwise. So you go on like this, and I'll meet you again a couple of stitches before the end of the round. Here I have 2 stitches left on each needle. Here's my Kitchener stitch. And now comes the part where it matters again that we're working in the round. Because what we're going to do is we're going to put up these stitches that we started with back on our needles. So we start here with the front needle. And I take that stitch and pull it back onto my front needle, and then I remove the marker. Then I put my stitches back on my needle and do the same with the back needle. And one trick not to lose everything is that I usually put my needle somewhere here in the fabric to secure it. So back needle, I go through, slip my stitches, and then I pull on this marker and slip the last stitch on my needle, remove the marker and slip them back on my circular needle. In Kitchener stitch we go through every single stitch twice, but the very first stitches on the back and front needle we've so far only gone through once. And now it's time for the second time to do just that. So I continue here, and now the very last time. Through here, and this already is my second time through this stitch, so I'm done with that needle now. And this is a purl stitch, and this was my first knit stitch, so I go through purlwise, and also here, this is my second time already. Then you tidy up if there's any snag here, exactly where the round meets, and otherwise you're done with your hat. So that's all for today, guys. Take care and good luck with your project.